girls and young women need mentors. I know this for a truth that girls and young women need mentors, because if it weren't for mentors, I wouldn't be able to be talking to you where today. I wouldn't be here today. How do I know that? Because I know who I was and who I've become because of my mentors. I was a young, challenged, angry, upset woman who didn't believe in myself. A girl, I'm talking 12 and 13 years old. I was coming from a neighborhood, from a lifestyle, from an experience that was not giving me the, well, I blamed everybody. I blamed everything. And here's why. By the time I was 8, I had already seen my dad, my real father, hit my mom. I had already seen us move many, many, many times in the middle of the night because my father was a raging alcoholic. And we were always getting evicted and having to move around to a lot of different places in the middle of the night. By the time I was 9, my sister who lived with us, my half sister who lived with us, had already been running away many times. She was older than me. She was 14, 15 at that time. And she was running away a lot. And she eventually became the local prostitute and was a heroin junkie. She passed away because of her addictions. But growing up, she was one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. And here she was out in the streets, my mom going out in the middle of the night to try to find her. And then finally, after many, many, many nights where my mom was going out to these drug dens, going after her, she said, I can't do this anymore. I've got 2 other kids, so you're on your own. I was also someone who, there had been family members who had molested me and had just, were not good people. Just were not good people. And I didn't tell anybody about it because I was embarrassed that I thought it was my fault. You know what I mean? It was my fault. And so I really spent a lot of time beating myself up, hating myself, not really liking myself at all, and being really, really, really angry. When I was 13, I knew that I had a choice. So I can follow my sister's route. That was a choice that I could do, or I can choose to be a badass and create this persona and get myself in a place where, come on, you're going to bring it on, come on. And I was going to junior high school, and in New York City, junior high school, there were these big, big buildings, thousands and thousands of kids. And at that point, I knew that I had a choice, right? I was going to be beat up or not, or I didn't even think about that I could have been a goody two-shoes. Didn't even think about that I could have studied and become, a really good student. I just had no clue about that. I just knew that I had to survive. So I became known as La Loca, the crazy one. I was the one that when you would walk up the stairs, there was this the movement that was going on with a bunch of the gangs, especially girl gangs, where they had these long hat pins and they would shove it up your butt, which really hurt a lot, right? And I was not going to let that happen. It was just not going to happen to me. So I created this persona of being La Loca, and I would walk up the stairs and I'd get to the first plant and there'd be hundreds of kids all around. I went, come on, you gonna bring it on? Come on, bring it on. Show me the way, because I'm going to get in your face. And I would do this, and then everybody would just like, ooh, she's a little bit she's like calling for it. And you can't do that enough, because then somebody's going to call you out and want to fight you. So other days I would woke up to the next platform and I'd stand there in front of everybody and I go, the sun will come out tomorrow. And they'd then all start, man, that girl is whacked. She's crazy. She's la loca. And it was my survival tools. It was the things that I needed to do to survive, to be, to get through the day. I was really, really fortunate because I did join a girls' gang. I was known as the escorter. I escorted you to come go get beat up. That was my job. It was a safe place. My friends were Lefty, Peanuts, and Rats, and there were a bunch of other girls, and that's what I did with this, kind of attitude. And it was heading on bad paths. I mean, some of the places that I went, there were guns, and some of the places that I went, people would play Russian roulette with the guns, and just going into a place that was not in my highest best interest. Clearly, my mom was scared. My mom was really scared that I was going to go down the path of my sister, and so she did two things. One was she enlisted my Aunt Lou, to take me on adventures around the city. And Aunt Lou was, if you knew the movie Auntie Mame, she was like very flamboyant and all that. But she would take me and introduce me to some just experiences, different places, cocktail parties, things that I had to be in. And I did not look like I do now back then. So it took her a lot of guts to do that. One of the things, and the whole reason of doing this was to share with you that I wrote a book. It's called For All Our Daughters, How Mentoring Helps Young Women and Girls Master the Art of Growing Up. I wrote this book in 1998, and it's still being used now by Girl Scouts. It's still being used by girls groups, because what I found was my mom signed me up for Girl Scouts, which got me into mentors and guides that opened up a whole new world for me. I know that young girls and young women and girls need mentors to be educated and inspired. So I wanted to offer you an opportunity. Just go and buy the book and find out why the 5 essentials of mentoring are critical to young women and girls. If you have a niece, if you have a part of a Girl Scout troop, you really, really want to know about how to mentor young women and girls. It's a really good book. And I just wanted to let you know about this. My story is, and my successes are because of the mentors that came into my life. I'm asking you, be a mentor to a girl, be a mentor to a young woman, and make a difference. It's made a huge difference for me. Thanks. Take care.